Hi everyone, my name is Abia.
And my name is Nardos, and we are so excited to have you join us today. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
While Nardos pulls up the presentation, if this is your first time watching, welcome. We're so excited to have you with us today. If you've been coming to the live streams, welcome again. We're so excited to have you guys with us today. But before we begin with the lesson, does everyone remember the coolest projects competition from last week?
I remember, and I know that you all can scan the QR code or follow the link in the chat to register now.
Also, an important reminder, remember to be respectful in the chat. Failing to do so will result in being banned from the live stream. With that said, namaste everyone and happy Holi.
Yeah, welcome. We heard that today is Holi in India, so happy Holi everyone. Have a great festival. So this is week 5 of the Starting from Scratch series, and we are super thrilled to be here with you.
If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and click the subscribe button down below and click on the bell notification so you stay notified when we have our next live stream. Hey Nardos, what are we going to be doing today?
So today's agenda includes introductions, then we're going to highlight some of your projects in the Week 4 studio, and we'll be doing projects where we're going to be adding scores to our games. Then, as always, we'll have game time and wrap up the class with introducing next week's class. So today, we will be learning how to add scores to our games and use sensing blocks.
Great. And these are all of your Scratch mentors. You might have met some of them over the past 3 weeks, and you will get to meet more very soon. Make sure to follow all the mentors on Scratch if you haven't already, and here are their Scratch usernames. So take a picture if you need to. My name is Abia, and I'm going to be one of your mentors today. I'm from Virginia, USA, and I'm in the 12th grade.
And my name is Nardos. I'm in 11th grade, and I am living also in Virginia, USA.
Yay! Now is studio time. We are so excited to receive so many projects from week 4 that followed the right protocol. And that included the right file name, notes and instructions, and going above and beyond to creatively modify your projects. We are going to highlight these 4 projects because the creators really made their game their own and exploring different sprites and stages. So let's start off with Ishan.
Yep, let's go ahead.
Ooh, it changes background.
And can you hear the sound, Abia?
Yeah.
Awesome. So excellent job, Ishan. Now let's look at the second project that we are spotlighting. It's going to take a while to load.
Yep. So excited. All of these projects were amazing and so creative. Like, look, it's a unicorn. That's amazing.
Yes, so this is Unicorn Game by Trinidad. So let's go ahead and play.
Ooh. I love how the ball is different.
Yeah, and I can see that they attempted to add a score.
Wow. And for our lesson, if you don't know how to create a score, we'll be helping you to figure out how to do that so you can include it in your projects too.
So excellent job. Now let's look at Unicorn Game by Sarah.
Wow. I love this project. It's following the unicorn theme with the rock and the little wand.
Yeah, so excellent job, Sarah. Now let's look at the last one we're spotlighting for the day.
Ooh.
This is Hair Game by Rachel.
This looks really nice.
Oh, look, and there's a sound.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And there's also another backdrop. Excellent job.
Again, we want to thank you to everyone who submitted their projects. The people listed had their project follow the right protocol. Amazing. If you want to be featured in the next week's lesson, make sure to follow the right protocols and have fun and explore. We hope to see even more people be featured in the next week's lesson.
Exactly. So now we're going to go back to talking about the Coolest Projects competition. We would love to see you participate this year. So we're going to showcase this project from a team in Myanmar, or Myanmar, I think.
Alrighty. And this competition is perfect for you since everyone here has the skills to compete from attending all the Scratch classes. The skills that you're learning here are setting you up for not only for submission, but for hackathons and other competitions as well. You are skilled and competent enough to compete. So go ahead. I encourage you to do that.
Definitely. And so this project is called Space Cleanup, and the instructions tell us to use our arrow keys. So let's test it out. Ooh, so I see that there's different options. I'm going to go ahead and see what I can do.
I love the taco.
Ooh, okay. I'm going to go ahead and go to the taco and bring it home.
Yay.
And let's go to the rock, and I'm going to go ahead and burn that.
Ooh, do you see the graphics, Nardos?
That I do. That is so cool.
Oh,
so let's go back to our presentation.
That was amazing. That gives me an idea to include colors in my sprites too.
Yeah, exactly. And you all can do that as well because this year's Coolest Projects competition will be celebrated on June 8th. So this competition happens every year. So if you miss it this year, don't worry, you can always participate next year. Today, we will be creating a score for 2 Scratch games. The first project will be continuing last week's project on the hair game, and our second project will be the balloon popping game. So now we're going to jump right into our activity, which is continuing the Hungry Hair game from last week.
And thanks again to Zoe from the Scratch team, because our project was inspired by her game. So last week, Mira and Yusra guided us to making this game. And today, we'll be adding a score to it.
Yeah, so this means that we will not be creating a new file. We'll actually just use our old project. But if you missed last week's stream, don't worry, we have a plan for you. So this is last week's file naming protocol, and let's jump right into our demonstration.
And while Nardos pulls that up, again, I really encourage everyone to compete in the Coolest competition. It's going to be really awesome. Oh, we're here. So first of all, go to scratch.mit.edu and log in. If you're already logged in, great, you're one step ahead of the game. Then on the top right, you will see your name. The drop-down menu gives you options, so select My Stuff button.
Oh, look, I see my game from last week, Hair Game Nardos.
Yay, let's click it.
That's gonna load.
Whoop-de-doop. So exciting. And again, if you haven't created this from last week, feel free to remix it, and we'll be talking about that really soon. And now we see the project page. We can click the See Inside button to edit it.
Okay, so now your screen will look like this. But Abia, what if I missed last week's lesson? How am I going to follow this week's lesson?
Great question, Nardos. You can go over to this week's Scratch Studio. The link is on the screen and in the chat. Mira's project from class 4 is here, so we can remix it. Remixing in Scratch allows us to learn from others and add to the projects, and it saves us so much time.
Yep, exactly. So I can see Hair Game Mira in the Week 5 studio, so I'm going to go ahead and click on it.
And remixing it is so helpful because it also gives you ideas as to understanding a code in its context. So this is perfect.
Yeah, so when you get to the screen, you're going to see this new button, and it's going to be green and will say Remix right next to the See Inside button. So you can go ahead and click Remix.
Yep, we see the screen now.
Awesome. So this isn't going to be the same project, so I need to rename it.
This week's file naming protocol is scoring and your first name.
So I'm going to write Scoring Nardos.
Great. Now your screen should look like this. But before we get into coding, why do we even need a score, Nardos?
You know, Abia, that's a really good question. Let's go back to our presentation to answer it.
Yeah. Like, what is its value? I'm curious. Please help me.
So scoring helps us track our points. So in our game, we want our ball to get 0 points, but our strawberry will give us 1 point.
Oh, so how do we do that?
Well, we're going to have to create a variable. So you might be familiar with variables in math as symbolic representations of any number.
I don't know about everyone else, but I'm a little confused. What exactly is a variable?
There are 3 different ways that we can look at a variable. Variables are data values that can change throughout our program, usually when a question is asked. And we can also think of variables as storage locations to have an identifier, and it also contains a value. And lastly, we can say that a variable is a storage location for data.
What? What? Can we please break it down with an example? I'm so confused.
Let's do that. So in our scenario, we have 3 characters: a programmer, which is all of you, a variable, and an event.
Ooh, my birthday is actually coming up. So let's say the event is my birthday party.
Okay.
I want to invite my friends to my birthday party, and I also want my 10 friends to feel special and have their names on it.
Well, if you're inviting 10 different people, then you're going to have to handwrite all their names, and your hands are going to be so tired.
Yeah, and because of COVID, mailing is so slow, and not to mention, I can't even give it to them in person. So what should I do?
Well, don't worry, Abia, because the coding superhero is here. As a coding superhero, the variable can help you.
Ooh, how will that work?
Well, let me tell you. The variable is a storage location. But what exactly is it responsible for? What's its value? You can make a variable anything that you can imagine: a name, a date, age, or anything else.
Really? That's so cool. Since my birthday party is coming up, can the variable help with that?
Of course, Abia. You have friends that you want to invite, so you can give the variable a value so that you don't have to write each name over and over again on the invitation.
Wow, please show me how to do that.
So we want to represent the name of each friend. So we're going to call the variable name.
These are the names of my friends. Fun fact, these people actually won the greatest coding competition a couple weeks ago.
Awesome. So remember that a variable is a storage location that has an identifier. So in Scratch, the first step would be to go to the variables menu and click Make a Variable.
Oh, okay. Since the variable needs a name, let's call it name. And for now, we can just say it's for all sprites.
Yep, and then click OK. Then we can see that the variable name will show up, and it'll also have this blue check mark.
What's the difference between a checked mark and an empty one?
Well, if the variable doesn't have the check mark, then it won't show up on the stage. So you want to make sure that you check it if you want your variable to show up. It's all up to you. So now we can start filling out the invitations. You can store one name at a time in the variable. And remember, we will only be putting names in this variable.
Nice.
So let's do that. We'll use the set block.
Ooh, I want to make sure that we can fill the variable the way that we want to.
Yeah, so we can click on the drop-down menu and see that there's options, but we can also see that there's this white space where it says 0, and we're going to change that to the name of your friend.
Ooh, that sounds great. For the first birthday card, let's make one for Dia.
Great, so we're going to take Dia's name and rewrite it into the space that says 0.
Oh, so that means I can set words too in the white space? It doesn't only have to be numbers?
Of course, you can set strings, which are words, or numbers, and even other variables. So in this case, we want to make sure that we're setting the variable to name and not my variable. So go ahead and you would pick name under the drop-down menu.
Wait a moment. It says on the birthday card, my variable Dia. Dia is my friend's name, not my variable.
Exactly, and that's why we need to select name when we are picking the variable that we're setting the value to.
Woo, much better. Dia will be happy to see that.
Yep, so once we add the variable code in the balloon and hat sprite, bam, we can click the green flag and we'll have Dia's name appear.
Wow, I love this, and I know Dia will love this too.
And the cool thing about it is that you didn't have to write it all by your hand. Just a few coding blocks with the help of variables will make Dia's name appear twice at the same time.
Nice. Let's see this card in real time and see inside the code.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and show it off.
Great. And we'll just click see inside and see the same code on the balloon and the hat.
Yeah, so first, let's go ahead and just run it. And there's music. Awesome. So I'm going to click the See Inside button.
Yay.
And if we go to our balloon sprite, we can see that we're using the variable. And we're saying say name for 7 seconds. But if we also go to the party hat, we'll see the same code again. So we didn't have to write say Dia. And that's how the variable helped us.
Oh, that's so easy. Oh.
Yeah, so now let's go back to our presentation and continue with our lesson.
Great. Now I understand what a variable is and what it can do. So let's go back to the presentation, and we're going to start planning our scoring game. Last week, we went through the 4 steps of the game. Now we will need to go back to step 3.
Yeah, and so the ball and the strawberry will cause different things to happen in the game. So let's look at the objectives.
Great. We have objectives for each sprite. The hair is the condition for when the score increases or stops the game.
And so the ball is the obstacle, right? If the hair actually touches the ball, then we want the game to stop and a score of 0. And the hair, when it touches the strawberry, will have the score increase by 1 point.
Awesome. Let's switch over to Scratch and start coding it.
Okay, great.
Now that we have a review on the details of the game, let's start. Does the hair sprite need a variable?
No, the hair is actually the trigger or the condition for the action. So we need to code the score where the counting happens.
Oh, okay. So, okay, that's great. Then let's move on to the ball sprite. When the ball touches the hair, we want to tell the player what is going on. Let's make a backdrop for our game if and when the hair touches the ball.
To do this, I'm going to go over to the stage, which is right here in the bottom right corner, and click Backdrops.
Great. And then now we can make a copy of the blue sky backdrop. We'll modify it to be the new backdrop that says the game over.
So to do this, I'm going to right click and click Duplicate.
Okay, great. Let's name the backdrop to game over now, so we know which backdrop when we code. This is super important because it allows us to remember what the backdrop is from the code tab.
Yeah, so it's named now.
Next, we can select the text option in the Tools menu and type Game Over.
Game over. Okay, so why don't we change the color? We can use the fill option in order to do that. I'm going to go ahead and pick a red color.
Right. So it alerts the person that it's game over. Nice one. But feel free to choose whatever color you desire.
Yep, and we can also change the text font and also the size as well.
Under the fonts, we can explore the different fonts. So choose the pixel. We're going to choose the pixel option since it gives it an old school vibe. But yeah, and we can use the sides of the box to resize it. So feel free to resize the size that you want and then move the text wherever you want it to be.
Okay, I think I'm happy with it now.
It looks nice.
We can also add a second line of text to tell the player what to do when the game is over. So get another text box by clicking this text option. And then I'm going to type press the green flag to restart game. And I'm going to go ahead and move it and change the color. I'll just do black this time.
Perfect. And as a challenge, choose a different font for the second text.
Okay.
What are you going to be choosing?
I'm going to go ahead and pick this handwriting one. And I'll recenter it to be where I want it to show up. Perfect. So we want to go ahead and switch to our coding tab so that we can have our backdrop show up when we want it to.
Great, but where should we code the game over backdrop? The hair, the ball, or the strawberry?
So because we want our game over screen to show up when the game ends, we're going to go to the ball because that stops the game. So make sure you click on the ball and go to the code tab. And we can see and confirm that we're under the code workspace of the ball by looking at this top right corner.
Nice.
So in order to switch the backdrop, I'm going to go under Looks, and I'm going to drag the Switch Backdrop to Game Over block. And we want to do this before we stop the whole game.
Smart choice.
Okay, so let's test it out. Oh no!
Nardos, the game is still running, but the game over backdrop is up.
Yeah, so this must be because we switched the backdrop to game over, but we never told the computer to go back to just the blue sky. So I'm going to drag the switch backdrop to block, and I'm going to make sure that it switches the backdrop to the blue sky when the green flag is clicked.
Ooh, let's test out the code now. Oh, great. Now the appropriate backdrop is displayed at the right time. Our code works. Woo!
Yep, and when I click on when I touch the ball, it said game over.
Perfect. Just the way we want it.
So now we need to go back to our objectives. We need to have a score that goes up by 1 every time that the hair touches the strawberry.
We will be using the 3-step process we just learned to create a variable that allows the strawberry to add 1 point. So let's make sure we are on the strawberry workspace.
Yep, and this top corner of the workspace will show us that we're on the strawberry, so we're good to go.
Great. Step 1 is to go to our variables tab and click on my variable.
We're going to click make a variable.
Oops, my bad.
It's totally okay. So now it's time to name our variable. Let's go ahead and name it score. So, Abia, what's the difference between a variable that's for all sprites or for this sprite only?
Well, the all sprites option is the default, and that means that all the sprites can use this variable. But if we were to use the this sprite only, the variable can only be used by one sprite.
Oh, okay. So let's keep it on for all sprites and click OK.
If you made a mistake and want to rename a variable, you can right-click on the variable itself and rename it. And when you are selecting a variable, you also have the option to rename it.
Yep. Awesome. So right now, we see that there's a blue check mark next to our score. So we want to make sure that we keep showing it because we want our player to know their score as they play the game.
Yes, and the score should be visible to all the players. Let's make sure the score starts with 0 by using the set variable block, select score, and place it right after the green flag is clicked.
Perfect. And I'm going to click the drop-down menu and make sure that it says score.
So now we can change our variable by 1. Under the variables tag, drag the change my variable by 1 block to the workspace. And remember, let's change where it says my variable to score.
Okay, so
Awesome.
where do we place this block? Let's try putting it in the forever loop.
Let's try that.
And let's test the code.
Yay! We did it.
So another way that we can make sure that our score goes up is when the hair touches the strawberry, so that the score isn't just going up on its own. So what we can do is go over to the control section and add an if block. And so this allows us to perform an action if a condition is met. So in this case, we want to make sure that the hair touches the strawberry. So under sensing, we can say we can see this touching block and drag it right here. And we can click the drop-down menu and we can say if it's touching the hair. So now if the strawberry is touching the hair, it will change the score by 1. Let's test it out.
It works.
Perfect. So now we are done with our game.
Yes, this was very fun. And you can also challenge yourself and your friends and family to see who can get the highest points. Let's add it to the studio, Nardos.
Yes, so congratulations, everyone. So after we finished our game, oops, this one right here, we want to make sure to click File and Save Now. And once it tells us that our project is saved, we can click this orange Share button. And now it's shared. So all the instructions from last time should still show up. But for the notes and credits, we want to make sure that we also have this filled out. So I'm going to say this is starting from scratch week number 5.
Mhm.
And now I can go over to the studio link for this week, and the link for that will be in the chat. And so once you're in the studio, you can click this Add Projects, and then you'll see your project right here, and you can click Add. And now our project is in the studio.
Awesome.
Okay, so now it's time for our second project of the day.
Yes, and we want to congratulate everyone because we just completed the first project.
Yes, so excellent job, everyone. So our next activity is going to be called balloon popping. And the objective of this game is to try to touch the moving ball to collect points for your score. So each time the balloon is touched, the score will add 1 point.
For this project, we will need to create our own game. So click on Create on the top left corner to open up a new file. And here we go.
Yep, so create.
On the top left corner, and we're just going to open up a new file. Super excited because there are blocks that you're going to see that will blow your socks off.
So what do we need to do before we start, Abia?
Before we begin with learning about creating variables, this project's file naming protocol is balloon popping, and then put your first name.
Okay, so I'm going to name it balloon popping Nardos.
Awesome.
So again, make sure that to write it in this top space bar and follow this file naming protocol. So next, we're going to be removing this cat sprite because it's not in our game.
If we're not going to be using the cat sprite, what sprite are we going to use?
Well, Avia, this is a balloon popping game. So we need to find a balloon sprite so that we can pop it in our game. So we can search for our balloon by clicking this sprite button and clicking on the choose a sprite.
Oh my God. I see so many options. This is perfect.
Yeah, so let's look for our balloon.
But Nardos, why don't we use the search bar to look for a balloon?
Yeah, let's do that. So I'll type in balloon, and now I can just click on it.
Great, now we are ready for coding, but I've got a question. So let's switch over to the presentation.
Okay.
Nardos, have you heard of a video sensing?
I'm not really sure.
Well, if you used Snapchat or Zoom or Instagram, then you've probably tried out the filters.
Oh, so that's what video sensing is.
Well, yep, that's called video sensing. And video sensing is basically a computer software that tracks your motion and sometimes even color through a video.
Whoa, so that means that it looks at the images frame by frame.
Exactly. And it lets you perform actions on virtual objects, like moving filters.
Wow, video sensing is so awesome. But I wonder if there's a way that we can do this in Scratch.
There is. Scratch has a lot of extensions. So let's use video sensing blocks in Scratch.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the project that we started.
And just a quick reminder that all the resources from today's lesson will be included in the chat or in the description box down below.
Okay, so now that we're ready, Abia, how do we add the video sensing to our Scratch?
So I see in the bottom left, there is a little menu of extensions. So let's click on that. And oh, there's video sensing. Let's click on video sensing.
Great.
Yeah, and I can see there are 4 video sensing blocks because we are learning something new. It's important to be open-minded and explore all your options and see what's possible.
Also, as we continue this lesson, keep in mind that we have different computers, so you might not see everything that we show you. So just keep trying new things until your code does what you want. So I'm super excited. So I want to turn on my video. I'm going to drag this turn video on block.
Ooh, oh, nothing's happening.
Let's see, test it out. Oh, nothing happens.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to give Scratch permission to access the camera. So on the website URL, which is right here on the top, I can see that there's this camera icon with an X on it. And when I click it, this pops up.
So I see there's 2 options. Always allow scratchmit.edu to access your camera and continue blocking camera access. Which one do we choose?
So let's make sure that we can give it access and click done. But I still don't see my video.
Oh no.
So it looks like there's this message here that says that our page may need to be reloaded. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh my screen. Oops, let me save it first. Then I'll refresh.
Sounds like a better idea.
Okay, so it's loading.
It's loading.
Okay, let's hope the video shows up now. There we go. So it looks like when I move, the video pops up.
Ooh.
Why don't we play with the other blocks in video sensing?
Yeah, let's try the first block.
Okay, so I'm going to put it on and try to move around. And look, I can see it light up, which means it's working.
Awesome. Let's try dragging other video sensing blocks and see what we can do.
Yeah, so what if we click on this drop-down menu? I see that there's an on flipped option, so let's click on that. So nothing is happening, Abia. What can I do?
Maybe we can turn it on. Oh,
Okay,
Savvy Bogiwar says, I have an idea. Ooh.
What's the idea?
What do you have for us, Nardos?
Well, I think that we've been using this green flag to test our code, but this code does not have the when green flag clicked block. So how about we try just moving around to try to run our code?
Oh, sounds good.
And see if something happens. Ooh, make sure it's on flipped. Look, now I'm flipped. I'm raising my right hand, but you're looking at it as my left, I think, or something like that. Okay, so what's our next step, Abia?
Our next step is to try our different blocks. Maybe pulling the variable block, the little rounded edges.
Yeah, so wait, before I do that, I'm going to make sure my turn video is on because I don't like it when it's flipped, but you all can do whichever one you like. Okay. So this round block can't be added to our code. So we need to make sure that there's another block that can help it run.
Oh, what block would we be using?
I'm going to go over to the Motions tab and I'll see it run when it's on the Move block. So let me go ahead and test that. And I'll put this right here in the circular round area. Now, when I move, the balloon moves away.
Oh, that's so cool.
Well, I want the balloon to actually show up on the screen for our game. So I'm going to get rid of this block. And I'm going to make sure that our balloon is back in the middle.
What does the last video sensing block do?
I don't know. Let's try it. So I'm going to move around to test. Nothing happens. What should we try, Abia?
Your video is more transparent and hard to see. Let's try doing 0.
Okay, let's try that. Look, now it's much clearer.
Yay! I can see you perfectly now.
Okay, so I actually kind of like it a little transparent, so I'm going to put it back to 50.
But remember that you all can change it to whatever you like. So feel free to explore and change the different numbers.
Yep, definitely. So what is our next step in our game?
Now we know how to do video sensing in Scratch. There are a couple other things you can do, so we encourage you to test them out on yourself. But first, let's think about the 2 objectives of the game again. So first, we want to touch the moving ball. Then we want each balloon we touch to give us 1 point for the score.
Well, the ball isn't moving yet. So how are we going to get it to do that?
We can do that. Under motion, there's a go to random position block that does this, and we will actually be able to predict where the balloon shows up. But for this case, we won't, because this goes into random places.
Okay, so let's test it out. And I'm going to move to test it.
Ooh!
And I can see that the ball is moving all around the screen.
Wow!
Awesome. Okay, so what can we do next?
Now that we have the ball moving, we need to get our second objective for the game.
Okay, so our second objective is that we need to keep score, and so we can keep track of our points every time we touch the balloon.
Well, Nardos, we need to create a variable to store the value on how many points the player can score.
Right. So under variables, I'm going to go ahead and click Make a Variable.
Let's name it score, because its job is to track points, right?
Yep, exactly. And I'll just leave it on for all sprites and click OK.
Don't forget that the variable has to have a check mark next to it for us to see on the stage.
Yeah, and I can see that it's showing up right now, so we're good to go.
Great. So if we think about the objective of the ball, we want to add a point when we pop the balloon.
Right. So I want to add the change variable block and add it to our code.
Nice.
Let's see how it works.
Just was about to say the same thing.
Okay, so I don't see anything changing.
Yeah, the score isn't changing.
I think it's because we have not selected score here. So click on the drop-down menu and click score. Now let's try it.
It's working.
Yeah, woohoo! Okay. So,
wouldn't it be cool though if we had popping sounds to the balloon? I mean, that way every time the motion is detected, the balloon can hear the pop.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. So in order to do that, I'm going to go to the Sounds tab and drag the Play Sound Pop until done. And I want this to happen before we go to a new position. So let's see it. Whoa. This is so much fun.
Oh my god, that sounds cool.
Whoa, the score keeps going up.
What if we tried playing a different game now? Tell me, explain to me, how do we fix this?
Yeah, so if you were to play the game right now, you would start at the same score that I left off on. So in order to fix this, we're going to want to grab the set score block and set it to 0.
Oh, let's try it out.
And we want to make sure that this happens at the beginning of the game. So I'm going to also grab the events block and grab the when green flag clicked. And I have to make sure that I set score to 0. So let's test it out. Look,
Yay! The score is kept 0 in the beginning. That's awesome.
It goes up. Okay. So I kind of wish this game was a little slower. And it also seems to be moving a little too roughly, and I can't really move it smoothly. So what can I do?
Well, I remember before the stream, we were looking at another way to do this code from Miss D.
Oh, yeah, I remember. And I like that that score increased a little slower. So let's use what Mrs. D did.
Even though we are not remixing this project, we have to be ethical coders, so we have to give credit to Miss D.
Definitely. So thank you so much, Miss D, for your code.
Miss D used an if statement, so we will be using an if-then statement. This tells the computer to run the code inside when a condition is met.
So let's say if it was raining,
then you will need an umbrella. In this code, the score goes up only when the computer can sense movement greater than 5 on the sprite.
Yeah, so I'm going to drag this if-then block and have it go to random position. And I want to make sure that this score goes up inside of the block.
Perfect. We also need a greater sign. If you go under operators, you will see a block with pointy edges that will fit in this weird shape for condition. Then, let's pop that in. And then let's change the number from 50 to 5.
Perfect. So what are we going to put in this empty space here?
Well, we can go back to video sensing and drag the round sensing block to fill in the empty space.
Okay. So time to test. Okay.
Woo!
Fun!
That looks so much fun.
Yeah, maybe you'll get to play after Abia. This works so much better, but I also want the balloon to start changing colors. So we can do this by going to looks and grabbing the next costume block. And I want to make sure that it changes costume after it goes to a random position. So let's try it out.
Ooh, that looks so much fun.
Yeah, this is so great. So what else can we do, Abia?
Well, I have a brilliant idea. Why don't we just add some background music so you can dance around and play the game?
Yeah, that would be so fun. So I'm going to go under the Sounds tab and click on Choose a Sound. It's going to take a while to load. Look at all these options.
Oh, wow. So many to choose from. This library is full of sounds. Which one should we choose?
Well, why don't we go under Loops and see if we can find some music? I don't really like that one. Let's try another one.
No.
That's a little too chill. Let's see this one. Okay, I definitely like that one. So I'm going to pick this dance sitar one.
Awesome.
So why don't we go ahead and play the sound and try to play the game to see how it sounds.
It's a little too loud. Maybe use the softer option to make it quiet.
Yeah, so let me just see, I can go down once more. So now let's try it.
This is much better.
Perfect. Okay, so now we have to switch over to our code tab and add the play sound until done block. And we want to make sure that this happens when green flag is clicked. So I'm going to grab the green flag is clicked block, then add play sound until done. And you'll see that this has to be selected, the sound that we just picked, which in this case is dance sitar.
Okay, let's test it out. Oh no, the music just stopped.
Oh no, what can I do?
Why don't we use a forever block to repeat the sound over and over and over again?
Yeah, let's do that. So under the control section, I'm going to grab this forever block, and I want to make sure that the play sound until done is inside the forever loop. So let's test it again.
Woo! Yay! It's working.
So now our game is completed.
Yeah, our game is finally completed. Let's go to the file and then save now. Great. Now we can click the orange share button. And Nardos, remember to put instructions in notes and credits.
Okay, so press the green flag to start and pop the balloon to increase your score. And in the credits, I'm going to put that this is from starting from scratch, class number 5. And this is our scoring lesson. And I also want to make sure that I give credit to Mrs. D because we used part of her code. So I'm going to put thanks to Miss D for your code.
Perfect.
Okay, so now I can go to our studio link. Oops, not that. And then once we're in there, we can click Add Projects. And then I can see that there's my balloon popping game. So I'm going to add that in. Great, so our demo is now over.
This means it's game time.
Yep, so wait for the screen to pop up and you all be able to join the Menti.
We got a comment from Ishika saying, I am literally dancing now.
That is so amazing. Yes, I'm definitely going to continue playing this game too. So we can all dance from all around the world.
Awesome. So click on the Menti link on the chat or use the code on the screen to play the game. So
And
let's head over.
Yep, switch to the Menti.
Awesome. And while Nardos does that, I really wanted to quickly talk about the competition again, and just take the time to acknowledge that we really appreciate your projects and the feedback we received from the studio chat. We received some awesome photos from some of you, and we would love to see more photos and feedback on our live stream. So please feel free to share more to us. Send them over. We would love to see the photos and feedback.
Definitely. So we're going to give it a couple more seconds until people join the Menti. I see that there's a strawberry, and we just had the game with the strawberry.
Ooh. I love all these little emojis.
Yeah, and the train, awesome.
And do you notice how it's bouncing a little? That's from code. Code is everywhere digitally.
Yes. Oh, and I can see that there's a donut. Now it's making me so hungry.
Oh, we got a comment. Anima said, I am the dog. That's so cool.
Yeah. Awesome.
Savi said, the train is me.
Yay, Savi.
Gia said, I am fire. I'm so glad everyone is so excited.
Ooh, fire. Oh, look, there's a little bird.
Awesome. We're just going to take a few seconds here until we start the game. So,
Yep.
yeah.
And I can see more people are joining. Awesome. Oh, look, and there's a unicorn. And we just saw people had unicorns in their games.
Oh my God. This is such a coincidence.
Yeah.
I think we can start.
Okay, perfect.
So answer fast to get more points. The first question is, what is your gender? So we got no answers yet.
Yep, we have 5 more seconds and it'll display.
Oop, okay. Time is up. Wow, this is amazing. We have 22 girls.
Yeah, woohoo, that's awesome. There should definitely be more girls in coding. So on to our next question. Oops.
Awesome. And we love girls when they're coding. We need more girls in the industry, okay? What the second question is, what class range are you in?
Yeah, I would be in other because like I said, I'm in 11th grade.
Me too. I would be in other.
3 seconds.
Wow.
Okay, so it looks like we have a good range of people in different class ranges. So on to our next question.
So on the leadership board, we have Xavier leading up the game.
Awesome. So next one. Oops. Start the countdown.
Again, answer fast as much as possible. The third question is a backdrop a costume?
True or false? You have 10 more seconds to answer. And this is kind of a trick question. I actually got it wrong, so we'll see how this looks.
Wow.
So the answer is true. And this is because we can have different like costumes of each backdrop. So that's really cool. So next question.
The fourth question is, why do we use variables?
They save time so programmers don't write the same thing over and over, or they keep track of values that change throughout our program, or values that don't change in our program, or we don't even use them because they're not helpful.
Or A and B, which is the answer that majority of you guys chose.
Awesome job. That is correct. So next question. Oop, and we have our leaderboard. Looks like things are changing, Abia.
Wow. We see that I Love Ghosts is leading now. Great job, I Love Ghosts.
Awesome. So next question. And let's start the countdown.
Question number 5. A variable is a storage location for data. True or false?
You got 10 seconds left.
What do you think, Nardos? Are you going to tell us?
You don't want to give the answer, so let's see the results. Yay! So it looks like a majority of us got that right. Excellent job. Next question.
Our sixth question is, what can video sensing blocks help us with?
So
go
ahead.
Either track motion through video, draw on the stage, switch sprite looks, or broadcast the message video.
Yay! So it looks like almost everyone got it right. Awesome job. So maybe we should have had helps us dance in our answer choices as well, Abia.
Yeah, maybe we should.
So our next question. Oh, oops, we have our leaderboard.
Ooh, who's leading now?
Let's see. Okay, so it looks like I Love Ghosts is still on top, and Rachel is on closely following. So next question. And I'll start the countdown.
Question number 7. Which one of these options can variables store? The first option is sprites, numbers, backdrops, or none of the above.
I wonder what the results will look like.
Well, we'll see. Wow. We have majority of people answer the right answer, which is numbers.
Yep, so great job on the correct answer. So now we have the leaderboard. Let's see if anything changed. Oh, look, I recognize some of the names from the projects that we spotlighted. Awesome.
Yes, we have Dia leading the leadership board.
Awesome. So let's see.
Now on to question 8. What are the values of remixing someone else's project? The first option is to save you time on your own. Second is to learn how to code something you don't know how to code. Third is to make coding easier. Fourth is all of the above. And lastly, A and B.
Whoa, we got a close one. So the answer is actually A and B. We want to make sure that when we're using other people's code, that we're being ethical and crediting them because we're learning from others and we're also saving time on our own. So
on to our last question.
Yep, and the time is starting now.
Can you make a variable and not have it show up on the stage screen? Yes, no, or option 3?
Oops, so it looks like option 3 should not be an answer, so please don't pick that. So pick yes or no.
Time's up.
Yes, so the correct answer is yes. Remember the blue check mark, which allows us to show our variables or not show them on the stage. So now finally our leaderboard. Let's see who wins.
Ooh.
I think things are changing up.
Yeah, congratulations.
Excellent job. Okay, and we have one last question, a bonus question. We want you to answer, which city are you joining us from? And we're going to start seeing your answers populate.
Awesome.
I'm excited to see these because I don't know many cities in India or actually even cities in the United States. I don't know many, so this is cool.
Yeah. So we have one from Chennai. Others are coming from Pune, Kolkata. Yes.
Ooh,
West Bengal.
Whoa, okay. Remember to put your city. This word cloud looks so cool. We can see that there's so many different cities.
Oh my god, they're coming. I mean, they're coming from everywhere in everywhere. Oh my god, these are so many cities.
Yeah, and I also see that there's United Arab Emirates, so that's awesome.
Yes, we see Abu Dhabi.
Cool. I see Southwest Delhi. I see Bangalore.
And I see Kochi. It just keeps on getting bigger and bigger.
Okay, I think we have everyone's. Nope, there's one more. Okay, so I think we are done with the Menti. So awesome job, everyone. And remember that we have Mentees every single week. So join us next week as well, and there will be a Mentee.
Yes, please stay tuned, and we have our resources again in the description box below, and will be posted in the end of the chat during the after this lesson ends. Yeah, this game was so fun, and we want to give everyone a heads up. Don't forget to sign up for the competition. You are fully competent to be competing in this project, and we can see it through your projects submitted in the studio.
Definitely, we're seeing some excellent projects. So continue submitting your projects in the studio, and don't forget to sign up for this competition.
Remember that the class resources are available for you in the description box down below and in the chat at the end of the class. Remember, it's all right to be stuck and need step-by-step instructions on how to complete the project. These resources will be very helpful for you to complete in your projects.
Yeah, so we definitely encourage you to go check them out. And if you haven't already, go ahead and click the subscribe button down below, and also the bell in order to be notified for all the times that we do a live stream.
Yes, and we want to acknowledge that there is a time change in India from 10 a.m. to 9 a.m. So keep that in mind, and also join us next week for creative coding. You'll be learning functions, so you don't want to miss that.
Yep, it's going to be so much fun. So thank you so much for joining us, and see you all next week.
Bye, everyone. See you next week.